Hey, how you doing? We're back.
How's it going, everybody?
We are MixedApez. This is You Should Know This Song. Apparently, a couple of you are actually subscribed, and we're gonna do this again.
Actually returned. So we're going to let a second episode roll right over you right now.
Here we go.
All right, the segment we're going to be doing is a segment we call Quick Hits. It is where we trade a lyric and quickly guess what it is or just move on.
And we do these verbally. They're not
Right, so
we're not seeing them digital. We deliver them verbally.
Verbal exchange, and you get one clue, correct?
Yep, absolutely.
One clue, and we're not supposed to go off on a tangent about any of this. We'll see if we can hold that together, which is really the difficult part. So I'm going first.
You're going first.
Going first. Race of Apes says I'm going first. So we'll start with this. What's so funny about?
Peace, love, and understanding.
Oh,
Elvis Costello.
Yes.
Don't remember which album. Can you tell us who?
Armed Forces is the album.
Okay.
Nicholas Drain Lowe. Nick Lowe wrote that song. And not with Elvis Costello, which I was surprised to see. I'm not digressing, just making a point there.
Yes, you are.
Released in 1979. And the song is called What You Said. Peace, love, and understanding.
Peace, love, and understanding.
Okay, you hit me.
Never meant to cause you any sorrow.
Never meant to cause you any pain, only one with Purple Rain.
Very good. That's
Prince.
Prince, and oddly enough, written by
Prince. Oddly enough, written by Prince. And I'm going to guess that was released, Purple Rain was released in 88.
Okay, I will have to. I have not been recording.
You don't have that.
I've not been
you don't have that off the top of your head. Okay. Okay, you ready?
Sure.
Now, if there's a smile on my face.
Now is part of it?
Yeah.
Now, if there's a smile on my face,
now,
I'm
if there's
not.
A smile
I don't have
on
it.
my face.
It's not coming.
It's only there trying to fool the public.
Oh, that's Tears of a Clown.
Yeah.
Smokey, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smokey Robinson.
Cool.
Written by.
You gave me a second line there.
I did. I cheated, but I'm calling it one line because that's one line of the song, and I wanted you to get it because Tears of the Clown, 1967, written by Stevie Wonder and Smokey Robinson.
No kidding.
Yeah. Kind of interesting there. Okay, your turn.
And I don't remember church bells or the money I put down.
Yeah, Dixie Chicken, baby.
Little Feats.
One of the greatest.
Little
George,
of the greatest
bands.
Fred Merton. Yeah. Yep.
I was earlier today, to digress for just a minute, because if I don't right now, I'll forget. Just earlier today, I was thinking of that song, and I was struggling to think of how I would present any portion of it to you.
Yeah, the only way that you could do it would be in one of those Ask and Be Deceived segments. Where
and I was even thinking of that, and I was like, there's just no way. Okay,
I actually went through the song in my head line by line, going, "Yeah, he's going to know that one. He's going to know that one." I couldn't find. That was as close as I could get.
This one's kind of a zinger. So, it's time to put on makeup. It's time to dress up right.
I don't know.
It's time to get things started on The Muppet Show tonight.
And I now can hear it, but
right, I thought because of
that was a good one.
Because of the time and how popular that was,
sure.
I thought that would go over.
Yes, I remember.
Jim Henson wrote that. It was released in 1976, so that's when the show started, which was the closest thing I could find to reference. Your turn.
So I have one that can only be delivered verbally. I could not give this to you digitally or via text or whatever. Wow. But it's how.
Well, it's LaGrange from ZZ Top.
Yes, written by all three of the boys, Billy Gibbons, Dusty Hill, Frank Beard.
Off of the, oh my gosh, the name of the album just popped into my head and popped out.
Tres Hombres?
Tres Hombres, yes, Tres Hombres album. This one, I have to do more. It's not like it could be one line, so it's going to sound like I'm doing more than one line,
sure.
But to me, this is one line. Whose wine? What wine?
Where the hell did I die?
Yes. I didn't know you get that quite that quick.
Whose wine? Is it Frampton? It's Frampton.
It's Frampton.
Off of the Double Live album.
Well, yeah, he did play it on that. There's the Tube.
I'm actually, yeah. I'm actually, it's the lyrics are right through my head. Yeah. Do you feel like we do?
Yes. Do you feel like we do? That's right. I was going to ask you, I was going to see if you get the lyric right also. That was a technicality right there. Not do you feel like I do? Do you feel like we do? That's the actual name of the song.
Yep.
That was written by Rick Willis, Peter Frampton, Mick Gallagher, and John Siomos. I don't know if they are the band at that time. The album was Frampton's Camel, 1973.
Okay. He didn't see the station wagon car.
I know this.
Yes, you do.
Oh, golly. Give me another line. No, not supposed to give me another line. Can't do that. Quick hits. Right. He didn't see the station wagon. Nope. How can you get it?
The skunk got squashed, and there you are. It's Dead Skunk in the Middle of the Road
Dead skunk in the
by
middle of the
Loudon
road.
Wainwright III, who, by the way, his son has done some stuff with Paul Simon's kid.
Now
Isn't that
this is
fucking weird?
technically digressing,
Yes, it is.
but
Right.
I love it. Yes, I think we talked about that before. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Banana Fana.
Obana. That's the song, but I don't know what the song's called.
The song is called The Name Game.
The name, yes.
The Name
Yes.
Game.
Who did that? Who originally
Shirley
did that?
Ellis, 1964. And there's no album credited for that, although it is referred to on Wikipedia as, I believe, as a children's song. But that was a hit song.
Oh, that was a huge hit
Motown
song. Yeah,
song.
yeah, absolutely.
Lincoln Chase and Shirley Ellison wrote that. Your turn.
And there was dancing and singing.
Oh,
and
moving to the grooving.
Yes.
And just when it hit me, somebody turned around and shouted, that is Play That Funky Music.
Yep.
By Wild Cherry.
Very
Yes.
good, very good.
I get them mixed up with the band that did Brick House.
Really?
Yeah. I get that mixed up
because
of the two songs being
after your therapy,
so substantial at the same time. You know what I mean?
Written by Rob Parisi. He was the guy with the white Les Paul, the lead singer of the band, and the lead. He is the boogie singer. He references in the song.
Right. Nice.
And I believe it is your turn.
How about Funny Thing But You Can Sing?
No, I don't know it.
With a smile in your voice.
That's the second line. You just cheated again.
I did.
We're both.
Song Sung Blue, Neil Diamond.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Right. There it is.
Yep. You're absolutely right. And that's the lyric.
Neil Diamond wrote it. That is the lyric, and that's the name of the song. Song
okay.
Sung Blue.
And so I've got the last one for this particular segment.
Right.
The cops came busting in, and then we lit out in a pickup truck.
Oh, yeah. I'm not hearing the phrasing. I'm not going to get it.
You got to sing it kind of feverishly.
Yeah. No, it's not going to hit.
It's Get Out of Denver, Baby Go, Bob Seger.
And
then again done by Dave Edmunds, which is a
covered by Dave Edmunds?
Yeah, a really. Yes,
I didn't know that.
Imagine that.
I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that.
Because only half the songs he did were covered.
Yeah, but I didn't.
Yeah, if you don't know that, you need to know that.
I will
song.
check that out.
You need to check it out.
Right. You need to check this out.
It's just as good as the original, almost.
Okay, well, that was great. That was a blast.
Yep.
For me. And the end of the segment we call Quick Hits.
And I think with the next segment we want to do is something that we like to call Uncontrolled Substance. It allows us to do what we do, which is just kind of rant for a while about a given subject.
Blather.
And that's something that we both happen to be pretty good at, which is blathering. And this episode's subject is live albums, your favorite live album.
Yes.
And there are a half a dozen that come to mind immediately for me, and I'm sure it's the same as the case for you.
How do you pick a favorite is what it sort of boils down to, or even a top 5 favorites.
Yeah, I mean, and what I think are the best live albums wouldn't be what you think they are, right? I mean,
well, absolutely,
the whole thing.
And to that point, favorites for different reasons,
right?
Like probably the same for you. At least one of my favorites is more because of how much I enjoyed it at that time in my life and how much I remember that time in my life.
Sure.
I like the songs, I like the artists, whatever, but at that time in my life, I wasn't paying attention to the performance quality, the audio quality of it, whatever. I just loved the album because, man, I listened to that album a lot. Sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, these are the albums that we're considering some of our favorites.
So what's the one you were referencing just there?
The one I was referencing just there is Cheap Trick Live at Budokan, which is a pretty renowned live album in the sort of rock history of live albums from probably the 60s through the 80s. I think it's up there
as far as popularity.
As far as popularity and recognition, whatever. And Cheap Trick's a great band and whatever. I just don't know that I ever really paid attention to the quality of the performances on it. But
I Want You.
Well, right, and that song is certainly the linchpin of the album.
Yeah.
But there's a lot, Rick
Nielsen.
Rick Nielsen is a good guitarist, and he was a good guitarist live and whatever. The vocals sound good. Anyway, it was just such a good time album for me at that time. Such a good time album to listen to. Driving around in cars, at people's houses, the whole thing.
See, and one of my favorites isn't even rock and roll per se. It's just such a great album, and the band seems to be having a great time. And
That's important.
And that's Willie and Family Live.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, from when Willie early mid '80s was Honeysuckle Rose was out, and what's the On the Road Again?
On the Road
Right.
Again. William Whalen and the
Yeah,
Boys.
he was seeing a lot of success right then. There was a crowd I was hanging out with. We were playing cards 2 or 3 nights a week.
Right.
Canasta of all things, actually, an old people game.
Canasta.
And I wasn't an old people then.
I was gonna say that was a while ago. That wasn't.
But yeah, and it was just one of those albums where like the band just seemed to be having a blast.
Right.
Every single song on there was a party song. I mean, Willie Nelson, arguably one of the greatest songwriters of my lifetime. Going beyond the stuff that he did for himself. I mean,
oh yeah, yeah.
For 10 years before he was ever
songs he wrote for
known
so many other people
as a performer, he was writing songs for everybody else. It was one of those albums that was just a phenomenal album.
All the way through.
And it's not anywhere near my top favorite, but it's probably in my top 10 favorite live albums.
Right. If that album is, and I have not listened to it frequently, I've heard tracks off it and heard other people playing it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Is the kind of, and this might seem kind of silly to say about a live album, but the kind of live album where they leave the in-between stuff. You know what I mean? They're not cutting the track.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right after the crowd applause starts to fade, and then they're into the next one.
Chatter with the crowd.
Right, they leave a little bit of banter in there.
Absolutely.
That is, first off, it's telling about whether the band's having a good time.
Right, absolutely.
You know what I mean? But it also adds so much to sort of the enjoyment of the live experience through, third-hand means or whatever.
Absolutely.
So if it's that kind of album, I get what you're saying.
I got one just came to mind, and I know I just went, but one just came to mind that I'm certain we both share, and that's Waiting for Columbus.
Well, it's definitely on my list. It was the next thing that I was going to bring up. Actually, no, not at all. I figured that the two of us would hit on that because we talk about it with some regularity, actually.
Yeah.
And I talk about that album with some other people who are, music dorks with some regularity also. And they're not all people who are quite as old as me and who sort of grew up with Little Feat in their ears as much as me.
And I didn't come to know Little Feat until I was in my late 20s.
Right.
So I mean they had already, I mean, by that time Lil George had already passed.
Yes, right.
And they'd already had their heyday, if you will.
Yeah. And taken a different form, but lingered on as Little Feat with a few hits after that.
Yeah, absolutely. I did see them on that later tour when they had the guy from Pure Prairie League was the vocalist.
That's who I was trying to think of.
I don't remember his name.
Pure Prairie League guy.
But he took over the spot in the band that
Rad Gumbo and some other things like that. That album, though, the reason I think both of us would agree that we've talked about as much as we have, the other people I talk with also, is just that album has to do as much sort of with the enjoyment for me of the album, the songs, and being a good time album for me, as it does with the quality, the performance.
Well, the performance is amazing.
It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
The audio quality, sound quality, mix quality is really good too, but the performances are, they're just great to listen to.
And I'm not sure how many different nights that came from, but it sounds like one show, man. It does. And the thing is, it's a double live album.
Right.
And
which go find one of those right now.
Right.
From anybody right now.
And not only is it a double live album, it's every song they do is a hit.
Yeah.
So I mean there's
you can listen
I'm going
to
say 20 songs on it, right? Every song that they're playing, Right. If you know a little about Little Feat, you know most or every one of those songs. Exactly. Yeah. And it's just, and I find myself just pulling lyrics out of the air.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Irrelevant to the album. Actually, I'm in the middle of a conversation with somebody and I'll say something that to me is a reference back to the album all the time. But that one is just one of those that I think.
Recently, a guy I know who knows an awful lot of music. I mean, he knows an awful lot of music. In the past, I would say, I think it's been a past year and a half, and he's a little closer to my age. He hadn't really ever heard listening to
Waiting for Columbus.
Waiting for Columbus before a sip of something alcoholic, and that's where I go.
Literally a sip.
He hadn't heard it before, but he had heard about it. A lot of people talking about it, like, oh, you got to hear that album. Well, he never got around to it, sort of. He finally got it and told me, after listening to it, he was like, I can't believe I haven't heard this. Before now and haven't gotten to experience it. And, I wish I had listened to it 20 years ago or whatever.
There was a while when I only knew the live versions of a couple of those songs.
That's
3 or 4 of those songs. I'd never heard them.
Right. I can see that. I mean, the album was That album was very popular for them. It was a very successful live album. So what else you got?
Live and Dangerous by Thin Lizzy.
I suspected you were going to bring that into the...
I went to a concert in 1980 or 81. It was one of the 2 or 3 concerts that me and all 3 of my siblings went to together.
Right.
Probably one of 2, actually. And like, it was at Comiskey Park in Chicago, what they call the Day in the Park. It was one of those huge... Comiskey Park is where the Sox play.
Like a Super Jam thing.
Yeah, where the Sox play baseball.
Remember Super Jam, by the way?
No, I don't, because I didn't live here.
Oh.
That was a you thing, like Day in the Park was a me thing.
Super Jam was like a Lollapalooza thing. I thought that was like a nationwide Super Jam.
No. I never saw it in Chicago.
Yeah, Busch Stadium, there was 15 big name acts all day long.
No.
Anyway.
Yeah, maybe it was a Casey sponsor thing or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
At any rate, it was.
Anyway,
it was Molly Hatchet, Eddie Money, Thin Lizzy, Journey, and Santana. Actually, Santana and Journey is the order it was in.
Right.
Journey was the headliner, and then Santana, and then Thin Lizzy, and then Eddie Money and Molly Hatchet.
Molly Hatchet, yeah.
And it was a all-day Day in the Park show.
Yeah.
Tickets were $10.80.
Oh my god!
Because the radio station was 108 FM.
Oh, there you go.
WLUP.
Yeah.
The Loop is a thing in Chicago, the trains.
Yes,
right?
I'm familiar with.
So at any rate.
And the Loop radio station has been a huge rock radio station there
for a long time.
A very long time.
It was $10.80, and you got a Loop T-shirt.
Oh my god!
70,000 people.
That was $85 worth of stuff. Even at the time, that was $85 worth of stuff.
At a minimum.
Yeah.
And we went and we left early. Like I drove my '67 six-bang Mustang. And drove everybody down to the ballpark, and we left the house like at 6 in the morning. The concert started at 11. Anyway,
that sounds
there was lots of alcohol and drugs involved, and a wonderful time.
And there was going to sleep and waking up during the experience.
Yes. But the thing is that day that I saw them. And I was not a Thin Lizzy fan at the time. I was going to see Santana.
Right.
All the acts were good. Thin Lizzy was far and away the best act on stage.
I heard they were really, really.
They were phenomenal live.
Yeah, I never got to see them, but I heard they were good.
And it wasn't a couple of years later, I think, that I discovered that album, and it may have already been out.
Right.
But it's just wall to wall, very, very high end performances. Phil Lynott is mesmerizing.
Right.
As the lead singer and bass player. Gary, and I can't think of his name right now.
That's not his last name.
No, Gary. It's not Gary Wright, but it's with a W. Anyway, he's a blues player that was the only American that played in that band for a while.
Really?
And it'll come to me well after this conversation is over. But anyway, it was just, they were amazing. They were, both when I saw them and the album, it was one of those that like should be in every collection kind of a thing.
Yeah. I've seen that album on, like 50 greatest albums, live albums lists and what have you, but I have never, up front, never listened to it. I've heard live tracks off of it, but I've never listened to the album.
Do you still have a turntable operating in your house?
No, but I know somebody who does.
I'll pull a copy.
I'm going to have a friend.
I'll pull a copy out of the closet and pass it on.
I will Google it
and
follow up on it. I have actually done some of my homework from previous shamings.
Really?
Some of my homework. We won't go into that right now.
I'm not shaming you, man. If you don't know it, you don't know. But this it's one of those it's really, really,
really good. Really good. So next up on my list, and this is motivated, I think, by both the quality of the performance and the quality of I guess both is the right word. Quality of performance, quality of the recording, and by the time in my life, how much I really love this band. Humble Pie Performance, Rockin' the Fillmore, was just an album that I loved Humble Pie in the first place.
Sure.
I loved Steve Marriott's voice. Soulful screaming as much as anything, just ripping it out there. Precursor to our friends in the Black Crowes. And they wholly own that. The Black Crowes, who's the lead singer of the Black Crowes? I can't think of his name right now. He references Steve Marriott as an inspiration, so I'm not taking any liberties there. But that album is one of those albums you can listen to and you feel like you're there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you feel like you're at the live show and Steve Marriott is just getting you cranked up and you feel like you need earplugs, even if you're not listening to it loud. You're going to damage your ears. And like every every track, like we just talked about, every track I just wanted to hear again, you know.
Yeah.
So big Humble Pie fan. The time in my life, it was a good time album, but I always had a way deeper appreciation than just, hey, I'm partying with my friends
Yeah.
and listening to this rock and roll that's loud. Like that album was just, I just appreciated it greatly musically. You know what I'm saying? All the way through. So,
absolutely.
and a lot of albums at the Fillmore from the time.
Well, yeah. I mean, Zappa
Yeah.
had a live at the Fillmore. I know. Now, of course, I can't think of it, but it's like live at the Fillmore East, where it was tagged on to the end of a half dozen albums, right?
Yeah.
I have one.
I never went to the Fillmore.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
And I haven't spent a lot of time on the West Coast or the East Coast, actually.
Me too.
And I think for me, this one was more about what was going on when I was listening to it.
Yeah.
Was Jethro Tull's "Bursting Out"?
Oh, I forgot about adding that to the list. Yeah, that is fantastic.
It's one of those that's just. It's a really good album. They're a great band, obviously,
and they're great live.
Yeah. And Ian Anderson does a little bit of chatter with the house a couple times, right. But it's just one of those that, like, whether it's the New Day Yesterday, which is like heavy thumping bass, or if it's Skating Away, which is all lyrics and flute work, right?
Right, almost ballet.
Yeah, yeah. It's just one of those that end to end is very satisfying.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like I said, I don't know that anybody else feels that way, but it's one for me. That's one.
No, I did listen to that album, and I remember it now that you mention it. I certainly haven't thought of it in a long time, but I did have a really, really good appreciation. I enjoyed that live album a lot because I enjoyed Jethro Tull live. I think I saw Jethro Tull on one of those two things we talked about on
the Super Jam
previous episode. No, on like a Don Kirshner's rock concert or a midnight special thing. I don't believe I'm foggy, but I don't think I ever saw Jethro Tull live.
No, I didn't. I think my wife did, but she saw every band in the world live. Yeah.
She has a catalog.
Literally, like how many people do you know who are our age who like saw Zeppelin and the Stones and Supertramp?
Did you see the Beatles?
She did not.
She didn't see the Beatles.
She was 11 when they broke up, so probably
still,
not.
I mean,
like
come on,
everybody else. I mean, and she's got tickets that say like it was $650 to go see the Stones. You know what I'm saying? It's insane.
I bet she didn't get a free T-shirt with
No, she did not. And she apparently, and obviously long before I knew her, but apparently she was going to the concerts like every other weekend, man.
Right.
And at a time when there were lots of bands playing and you could afford to go.
My other pick is for this segment is I almost feel like this is like a cheap shot. But again, there's just a lot for me in my life with this album. We talked about it just recently, and that's Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band live.
Sure.
Quality of the performance. I mean, they were rocking. They were playing tight. The music, there were a lot of great songs.
I just heard Turn the Page, the non-live version, for the first time the other day.
Really?
I had never heard it when it wasn't.
I can see that because Turn the Page is
like
primarily the live version has always been played on. That's funny.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that before, but that's real shit there.
Yeah.
And so you just heard
I just heard the recorded version, the non-live version. They're obviously both recorded.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, that's a testament to how good the live version is. You know what I mean? There's a lot of songs on there that are, we should be playing this instead of that. I think, the time in my life is definitely part of the weight of that, but it was a double live album, wasn't it?
I believe so, but I can't speak to that.
It was great through and through, like these other albums we're talking about. I mean, just every song great through and through. They left the, banter with the crowd in it's a live performance that was captured, you know what I mean? And whether it was several live performances pieced together as so many of them are, it feels like you're at a concert with Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. So that's the one I got. What do you got?
I think the last one I have would be Stevie Ray Vaughan's.
Oh my gosh!
Like the name of the actual name of the album escapes me, but it's probably just Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble Live.
Yeah, I think the album had a title anyway.
But that one is another one that's just, it's so very
Stevie Ray Live was really was he not always good? Like everything I know about him, and I've heard a lot of Stevie Ray Vaughan's live stuff and that album, but everything I've heard is he's awesome.
I have a neighbor who told me that apparently before Stevie Ray Vaughan was well known, that somebody saw him at like a state fair or a county fair, and like Stevie Ray Vaughan was up on stage, and there were people just like walking by the stage, and there was nobody there, and there were like 4 or 5 people going like, "How can you people
All
not
right.
see how fucking great this is?"
How can you not see what's going on?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And I guess everybody has those those stories, if you will, before they became who they are.
Right, right.
But yeah, I never saw, and I saw him live once for sure, maybe twice. I think at a place in northern Illinois called Alpine Valley, or it might be southern Wisconsin. It's right on the border.
Is that a Alpine Valley sounds like a resort? Is that
It's an outdoor concert venue.
It is
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Not
But
familiar with
anyway, you didn't have to see him live if you had that album because it was just balling from end to end.
I couldn't help but bring it up on the wiki page. It's Live Alive.
That's it.
Stevie Ray
Yes.
Vaughan and Double Trouble from 1986. I am a little, I don't know how to put it. I'm a little like I wish I had said that album. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sitting
yeah.
here like, oh, I wish I had said that album because I just dug Stevie Ray Vaughan a lot and played a couple of his songs in live bands that I performed.
Did you
in.
really?
So yeah, really,
See,
really
I never got
on
to do
Stevie
that.
Ray.
I mean, and certainly I never played guitar well enough. I played air guitar, but I never
Yeah,
played guitar. I did get up on stage with my brother once when he was performing at a bar somewhere and sing harmony, and like
yeah.
that was the like
That was your zenith,
my rock and roll zenith
your rock
anyway. I
and roll
mean, I did some
zenith.
stuff for the theater, but I never did
Yeah, yeah.
anything. I mean, that's some cool shit being able to like get up there and be the guy.
Yeah, or if the crowd sticks around, then it means that was cool shit.
Right.
If you can't manage to pull that off, so that album, just to touch on real quickly, among other things, Pride and Joy, Superstition, Cold Shot, Willie the Wimp, Texas Flood, Look at Little Sister, Voodoo Child, Love Struck. That's most of the songs that are on that live album, and I mean, just great,
And
great
he just doesn't
songs.
stop. I mean, those songs, all of those songs are a good third again as long as they are on the album
Yeah,
when he plays them live. I mean,
right.
he's just, it seems to never end.
6 minutes, five and a half, five
Yeah,
and a half, 6.5,
yeah.
9.5 minutes on Voodoo Child, which if you've listened to rock radio, that song has been played on rock radio in full for all 9 minutes. The
Yep.
live version of Voodoo Child has definitely been played.
All
Yeah,
right.
so that was fun.
It was, and we should revisit this in another venue somewhere down the line.
We
So,
will revisit that again.
um,
And it reminds me to do something like we did on a previous episode here where we ran through, picked a year. I think it was 1973
yeah,
that
there
we
are
did.
50 albums. It was 50
Right.
years old.
We went through month by month and sort of talked about the albums that were churned out over the course of the year and how amazing it was. It's so many great albums were churned out. This reminds me to even just look through like top 50 live album lists
Right.
and
Sure.
talk
Well,
talk through some of that.
and I know we're trying to wrap up this particular segment, but I went through at my sister's urging and looked at 72 and 74 and 71 and 75. And the truth is, it's the same thing.
Every year,
And
right?
those years,
Every year.
and I guess if they would, if you kept going down the line, I might hit a point at which it sours on me. But like, there's from those years, and because of the age we are, the era that we grew up in,
Sure, sure.
those songs, there were 60 or 70 or 80 seminal albums being put out every year.
Right, every year.
I mean, those years and those albums, those are the basis of why we are rock and roll lovers.
Right,
You know what I mean?
absolutely, right,
And
right.
and
It's all
73
woven
happens to
in.
be 50 years back to 73, but the same is true of all the other years. Do yourself a favor, go to Wikipedia, do your Wikipedia thing.
Yes, go to Wikipedia and donate to Wikipedia
Yes.
first, and then
Right. But when you go and look at like the albums that were released in a given year from when you were a kid, from when you were
Right.
17 or 14 or whatever, pick a year, it doesn't matter. And you're going to just be blown away.
and even listen, even check out, because it occurs to us as we're talking a lot, but even on the showgram here, I really started being aware of listening to rock music when I was 8 or 9. You know what I mean? I had 3 older brothers, and so they were, giving me the influence, right? But even
as well as giving you the pain
and
and suffering. Yeah.
right, pain and suffering. Even the years when I was 3 and 4, they were introducing me still because they were still listening to
Right.
music
It
that
was
was only 4, 5,
unintentionally,
6
it was
years
going
old.
on in the house kind of thing.
Right, right. So I can look back at, even the mid 60s, the early 60s, the late 50s, and see a lot of stuff. I'm like, wow, that was a great album. That was a great album.
Well, or like
through all
you can
those
see
years.
where the influences came from as
Right,
well.
absolutely.
I
You
mean,
can
that's
watch
kind
it
of
all
the thing
trail along.
too. I was reading a thing on Rundgren the other day, and just like I will save it for another episode, but just like there's just like where these artists come from and all the things that they draw on.
Right, what they soaked up that turned them into who they are.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And I'd like to think, me personally, that I can get through into the early 2000s and still see, oh, great album, great album. I don't know that I could get past maybe 2005 and really know the artists well enough, but I'd be interested to see.
You're much more knowledgeable about that era than I am, quite honestly. I mean, I honestly just stopped listening to radio for a while, and not because like, oh my God, it's so bad, but just like I started doing other things. I started listening to the music that I had, or following, the Sirius radio kind of stuff, satellite radio.
Right. Listening to channel, and I mean the word channel like a type of music instead of.
And I kind of stopped listening to not just pop radio, but rock radio.
Right.
And then I have a very low tolerance for loud commercials. My hearing is just like, so that kind of is what slammed me off of that.
I have a very low tolerance for even soft commercials. I just do not like the commercials, which thank God for streaming stuff these days. You can still.
But I mean, that's how you pay the bills, right?
Absolutely.
All right, so we have gone well beyond our allotted time.
Ground that into the soil, didn't we?
Yes, but thank you for sharing that with me. That was pretty cool.
I really enjoyed that.
And hopefully you enjoyed it as well. If you did, please remember to subscribe
and like
and tell your family and your friends and the people you don't like and everybody that you know.
Risk your reputation. Go ahead, step out there. Go ahead, take a chance.
We are having a blast doing this. There is no financial remuneration, or whatever the word is.
I like the first pronunciation of that. Let's stick with that.
But we're just having fun, and we want to continue to share with you guys. So thanks you very much for joining us. We are MixedApez.
This is
You Should Know This Song.
You Should Know This Song.
We are done. Thank you.
Hey, sorry if the end of the episode interrupted your bliss, but You Should Know This Song is trying to be a podcast. So, as with life itself, starts and ends are part of the cycle. Yeesh. So anyway, here's a bunch of cool stuff. First, the MixedApez appreciate you listening, and if you enjoyed it, well, we support you, so forget about what others are saying. Share it with your friends, your family, your bowling league. If you didn't like it, you're probably still going to be okay. We hope you got some bit of new info or reminded you of a song you haven't heard in a while or a new song. Maybe something we said triggered you to go listen to some great song and expand your own musical bliss. Got some feedback for us? Awesome. Please send us whatever you're thinking about the show. We want the show to get better for the audience. Want some more? Just subscribe, and like magic, you'll know when there's more. Hop on the website, www.mixedapez.com. That's MixedApez.com. And you'll find info that may help you understand where this idea came from for us. Check out the charities promo page while you're there. Some people are doing cool stuff out there in the world. Anyway, till next time, be great like a mixed ape.